Oof, that ending though, oh my god.
You're horrible! You're an irredeemable monster!
What took you so long, idiot?
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. Oh, and I don't want to tiptoe around anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you a spoiler warning right here now. You have until 3, 2, 1, go. I feel like the writers looked at Breaking Bad and The Sopranos and took that as a personal challenge. Hey, we can make a character that's a lot worse than any of this. At the very start of the show, you look at Oz and think, hey, this is a charismatic underdog, I can't wait to root for him. But then by the very end, you're like, oh wait, he's the king sociopath that was destined to win no matter what because of how crazy he is. You go from thinking, hey, this is a good guy deep down, to realizing that he'll do whatever it takes to get ahead, to realizing, no, he's just a complete and utter monster. And even as you grow to hate him, you just can't turn away because of how damn charismatic and fun to watch he is.
I hate you!
This isn't a criticism, I absolutely loved every single second of it. The pacing and the steady drip of information to make you understand the characters was done perfectly, with the only misstep possibly being in episode 4 when they beat the Arkham dead horse a little bit too long for Sophia. Arkham is horrible and Sophia is being tortured. We don't need 30 solid minutes of it. You can cut about 5 to 10 of those out. And even as you grow to hate him, you just can't turn away because of how damn charismatic and fun to watch he is. But even then, the ending of that episode pulled everything together, so it's not that much of a complaint, really. But at least the worst part of the show had Sophia on screen, so it's not that much of a complaint, really.
Hello? I love you.
While Oz was always a monster, Sophia was a monster created by her own family. Not to say that she was a completely innocent character. She wasn't by far. I mean, she was next in line to be the leader of a mob family, for God's sake, and she knew what the family was all about, so she never was exactly innocent. But I wouldn't wish what happened to her in Arkham to happen to my worst enemies, so there's that. There's a lot of sympathy that the show builds with her, even if you know that she's still in the wrong morally. But no one in this show is a good person. There is no hero. There's just different degrees of pure evil.
Every villain is Lemons, otherwise known as evil.
Even Victor. Oh god, Victor. Probably the only main and or reoccurring character throughout the show that could be considered good at all. He had a chance, he had a choice, and you really, really feel bad for him because he has been given a terrible hand throughout his life. Not only with dealing with poverty in his youth, but also with the flood that happened because of the events of the Batman film. Side note, by the way, they did a great job with continuity. It did feel like the events of this show happened right after that movie, so great job with that. Love that aspect of it. And Victor is the embodiment of the people suffering in Gotham. During his episode, I was actively rooting for him to leave with his girlfriend, who was probably the smartest person in this show because she actually decided to leave.
Huh? That's it, I'm out of here.
And that is the tragic part of this show, is that every single character had a very obvious exit ramp that they could have gotten off at. Victor had access to money. He could have gotten out at any single point. Same thing with Sophia after she got out of Arkham, or Sal when he broke out of Blackgate, or even Fran when she figured out that Oz purposefully killed his brothers in order to get her full and undivided attention to himself exclusively. This is the point where I turned on Oz, by the way. She should have just gone through with the plan to have him killed, but she didn't do that. She didn't take the obvious exit ramp like all the other characters, because their greed, their ambition, and their anger for vengeance were all getting in the way of what the right thing to do was. Weird to think that flatlining a kid might be the most moral choice in a situation, but if you have the Antichrist right in front of you, what are you gonna do?
Meg, start at Psalm 41 and don't stop reading till I tell you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
Almost every single character in this show has some sort of code. Victor cares about the beaten and downtrodden people of Gotham. Sophia and Sal not only care about vengeance because of the people that they lost, but also they do have a code where you know that they're not going to turn on each other because they believe what they say. The sex workers will always look out for each other, and the gangsters have the code of greed. They will always do what's best for their pocketbook. Even Fran might have a code herself. It could be greed, but it could also be the fact that she just can't stand the idea of her final child dying even if he is a monster. She could be trying to direct her son's sociopathy and obsession with her into at least some positive direction, or it could just be her own greed. We don't know. It's not exactly told to us. The show isn't spelling things out for us. It leaves it up to interpretation.
If there be one among you who does not follow the way of the schnitzel, let that one go, and do not throw bowling balls at them. It's a matter of interpretation.
One of the biggest strengths of the Penguin is the fact that everything is laid out and shown to you, but it's never outright told to you. It's not beaten over your head. It trusts you to be smart enough to understand what it's trying to say. The show is so confident in itself that it doesn't care if you miss any of the foreshadowing, any of the Chekhov's guns, any of the character connections, any of the loose ends being filled up. It just trusts you to pay attention and to enjoy the ride. It is a very smart, tight show with a lot of things being left in the background or unsaid. Events happen off screen and you're given just enough information to fill in the gaps of what happens from scene to scene. And a lot of the information about what the characters were thinking and feeling was left up to the cinematography and to the acting. All the different scenes were shot in specific angles and lighting in order to allow the actors to tell you what the characters were experiencing without any words. Really, the only plot holes that I could possibly think about would be how easy it is to move in and out of Blackgate Prison, but you know what? This is Gotham, that's kind of how things work, so there you go. Everything else is perfectly explainable and makes perfect sense, especially with what the characters choose to do based off of their emotions and their past. People lower on the totem pole want to rise up. People that have been wronged want revenge. And Oz just wants to rule the world. Even the situations which happen by chance make perfect sense, such as the health scares. Sal dying of a heart attack makes a lot of sense considering that he is an older gentleman, hasn't exactly been eating well, and has a lot of stress. Same thing with Fran having a stroke and then Oz getting an adrenaline rush in order to pull himself free from his restraints. Considering that health scares and miraculous bursts of strength happen all the time in real life, I have no issue with that sort of thing.
Oh, of course.
That makes perfect sense. What a nice man.
That was totally worth the drive.
But the biggest achievement by far is the complete turnaround about how the audience will feel about Oz from the beginning to the end. At the very start, you're going to like Oz. He's super charismatic, he is very intelligent, he seems like he's been beaten down by life, and he appears to care about others a lot. And while he remains charismatic and intelligent, you realize that this guy doesn't care about anyone other than himself at all. There isn't a lie he won't say, there isn't a life he wouldn't sacrifice in order to make sure that he stays alive and he stays on top. In the first part of The Penguin, I thought that Oz would at least look out for Victor and that he wouldn't have done what he did to Sophia if he knew she was going to go to Arkham. But by the end, I realized, oh wait, everyone is a pawn to him and he doesn't care who he's gonna have to throw under the bus in order for him to get ahead. Even his demented relationship with his mother, which seems loving at the start, is completely messed up. He is obsessed with being the center of her world. It is all about him. He doesn't actually care about her at all. He just cares about being the center of her world.
Don't try to talk me out of it. I'm sure it's completely... Nope, never again.
By the end, it's revealed that Oz purposely killed his brothers, and when there was a car bomb, he ran for himself without even warning any of his men that there was going to be a deadly explosion. Then when Oz won in the end, he made sure to shove Sophia back into Arkham, even though that was her worst nightmare. He didn't show any mercy any kindness by at least putting a bullet in her head. And then Oz took any sort of affection, any sort of sympathy that we might have for him, and just choked the life out of it. Literally, he flatlined Victor, who represented our affection for Oz, for our belief in him, for our thought process that things could be better, and just strangled him to death. All because Oz had the tiniest bit of affection towards Victor as family, and that would have been a weakness as the mob boss of the entirety of Gotham. And to add insult to injury, he took the money from Victor's wallet and threw Victor's ID into the bay, symbolizing that he stole every single thing possible from Victor, the one character who might have had a chance if things were a bit different.
Hate, 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 double hate. Loathe entirely.
And if that didn't crush all of your hope, the fact that Oz is keeping his mother alive in a vegetative state against her own will definitely will make sure that you hate this guy. All the while, one floor down, he makes Eve dress like his mom so that he can dance with her, and so that she can give him words of affirmation that he always wanted to hear from his own mother. And then the camera pulls away from the penthouse, telling you that the story is over and the Penguin has won. This sick individual is the king of Gotham, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And right as all hope is lost and your disgust for Oz reaches new heights that you never thought were possible, the bat signal shines in the distance.
Army or not, you must realize you are doomed.
Absolute perfection. This show was amazing. The best adaptation of the Penguin I have ever seen in my life. This is how you make a villain that is absolutely disgusting and I want to see be taken down. Besides a few minor nitpicks, there's nothing bad to say about this show. It is a perfect tie-in from the first movie to the second movie, and boy am I excited for the second movie now. For once, my arch nemesis Warner Brothers Discovery hit a home run. I absolutely adore this. I want more of this. It is my favorite show of 2024. And for once, we have a story about criminal activity which isn't glamorized at all. Everyone is terrible, everything is terrible, and you don't get anything good from it. Nothing about the Penguin is redeemable, so it's going to be oh so sweet to see Batman punch him in the face repeatedly.
I am going to kick your ass.
You see, this is what happens when you treat an adaptation with respect. Perfect writing, perfect pacing, perfect sets, perfect acting, perfect direction. I loved it. It's basically flawless. The Penguin just set a new bar for comic book television shows, and everyone better step up their game, including Warner Brothers Discovery. You could still fumble this. Don't mess it up. But what do you think? Do you love the Penguin as much as I do? Do you actually hate it for some odd reason? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you disagree with everything I have to say, that is perfectly fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
What did I do to deserve this? I mean, what specifically?
Thank you all so much for watching.
Still here?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. You bye. Boom.
Do not despair.